trying to stay out of it, but I think that Manny Pacquiao has an incredible good chance to pull off an upset. The youth is going to be powerful. Spence is strong, but he throws everything he has in every single punch. That's a problem, because then eventually, if you're patient enough, you can see all those punches coming. Another problem with Earl Spence. I mean, I've been breaking this guy down. Like, I'll be ready to fight this dude anytime. He don't move his head. His whole defense is here. What happens when you have a guy that throws incredible punches going straight down the middle? I mean, that's the only thing he's not protecting. He has to do this in order to do that.
You think Pacquiao can capitalize on that?
I think Pacquiao just might be able to capitalize if he closes the distance fast enough to get around that big heavy jab that Earl throws. Yeah, I think he can land it. If he land that big shot, somebody can hit the deck.
You know, when people see something from the outside looking in, it's always a bit different. However, when you have someone who is versed with being involved in the course of action, they can make statements that may have more substance and truth to it. This is an early pre-fight video breakdown of the upcoming bout between Manny Pac-Man Pacquiao and Earl the Truth Spence Jr. A fight that is slated for Saturday, August 21st, and it's a fight that the boxing world would love to see. We're calling this welterweight legacy. In a fight that sees Manny Pacquiao, who's 42 years old, compared to Earl Spence, who's 31. They're both southpaw. Pacquiao is 5'6" with a 67-inch reach. Earl is 5'9.5" with a 72-inch reach. Consensus will have you believe that youth, strength, and size is on Earl Spence Jr.'s side heavily. But we all know, if you follow boxing in depth, that it's more a mental and psychological game than a physical game. And at the end of the day, when someone's, as I like to use the term, intestinal fortitude is challenged, that's when you really see the substance of which a man is made. This is definitely one of those fights that we're going to see something along that line, simply because Manny Pacquiao, in all of his fights, 71 as the chart says, he has the experience of pretty much having dealt with everything from losses to KOs, cuts, butts, injuries, etc. He has had the opportunity of being in with fellow legends and legends before he made his mark in the sport, who were considered above he at that time. There's not a lot that Earl can show him from that vantage point that he hasn't seen. But an X factor here is, what could he show Earl in this match that Earl hasn't seen? That is a big question, and we'll get the answer when the fight happens. To now, Earl has been marketably better than everyone he has faced. In fact, the one fighter that people had said on the table might be a challenge for him, the fight is no closer happening today than it was yesterday, and that would be against Terrence Bud Crawford. But this is a chance at legacy and securing your place in history for Earl, and I believe that he will be highly motivated in this fight against Manny. There will be an opportunity for him to do something that people didn't think could be done, and that is to make Manny completely shut down, possibly have a corner step in and stop this fight after beating and wearing Manny down over the course of rounds. I don't think that Earl's strategy is to go in and just knock Manny out. I think he wants to break him down systematically so that there will be no foregone conclusion and that the end result would be damage, wear, and tear. The only thing about that is the style that Spence fights in typically makes him be right in front of an opponent because he's looking to be aggressive and to shut the opponent down. There have been issues at certain points in fights where he loses a sense of where the opponent is when someone gives angles and comes off center. But he's fast enough with his feet and with his eyes to make adjustments. But for someone that's really slick or someone who's off rhythm, it could throw a wrench in his plans. Now, will Manny be able to do those things over the course of a 12-round fight with a younger, physically more imposing fighter in Earl? We don't know. As the fight comes closer, more people are starting to give Manny a chance just based on the experience factor, as you heard in this earlier recording with Bernard Hopkins speaking on it and the young charge that he promotes. This is the funny thing about this fight. If Earl isn't successful, it will catapult Manny Pacquiao to a stratosphere unheard of. This is one of the other motivating factors for Earl in this fight. You don't want to be that man. Remember the criticism that came down heavily when Keith Thurman dropped his decision to Manny. It's definitely one of those things that you have to consider, and if you have any type of pride and ego, and I'm certain that Earl has that as a championship caliber fighter, you don't want to be that guy. This fight is very close because of the X factors, not because of what we do know. It's close because of what we don't know. And that's odd in boxing because we don't get a lot of fights like that, but they can be the telling factors, the unknown, which makes or breaks the fight. Wide open. How many times have you said, man, I never thought so-and-so would happen. I didn't think it would go like this. I didn't expect so-and-so not to do this, blah, 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 blah. It happens in boxing, which is why we tune in. Can Manny Pacquiao box his way to a decision? Another interesting aspect, because his hands are quick enough to score the points, his feet are quick enough to get him in and out of position, but will his stamina hold up, especially after the heavy punching and pressure that Earl will put on it? He's a different fighter than Keith Thurman. Another unknown factor is, will Manny be able to surprise Earl with punching power? Many who have gotten in the ring with him ended up very surprised at the end of the day. Remember when he fought AB? AB was doing okay until he took a really good straight left hand smack on the chin from Manny, and that seemed to discourage him. The same type punch put Keith Thurman down on the seat of his pants early in the fight, dropped Miguel Cotto, dropped Shane Mosley stunned Oscar De La Hoya. Manny can punch people. It's amazing that a little man such as he possesses that type of quickness and power, and he's able to get those shots off. Now, Floyd Mayweather was a different type boxer who had a tremendous defensive advantage because Floyd understood distance, punching range, knowing how to block, parry, and counter, and even elude punches and make punches glance off the shoulder. A fighter like Earl, who uses a high guard, would have to be careful of punches that he can't see if his guard is in a certain type position. But he is still strong enough to absorb and then to dish out. It is definitely a battle of wills at the end of the day, because how badly does Manny really want this fight? Does he want to go out on his career as a champion or just securing a huge payday? We don't know that. Another unknown. But if he is willing to take certain type risk that no one is anticipating, then you have the barn burner that the headline makes with this fight. At the end of the day, shout out to Errol Spence for securing the fight against the legend Manny Pacquiao. Shout out to Manny Pacquiao for taking this fight and giving the fans once again what they would like. And shout out to boxing, because win, lose, or draw for either man, these are the type of fights that we like to see. This is Stormy B Man. Shout out to the LDBC, the Lions Den boxing community, Liberated Perspective, a third eye view of the world. For more content such as this, please like, comment, subscribe, and share. Don't forget to leave comments. Let's discuss. What do you think is going to happen in this fight? And isn't it great that we are having a legacy fight at welterweight? This is all I have for you at this time. Please leave comments and let Stormy know your thoughts. And until the next time we speak, peace. Everyone remain safe, and we'll see each other soon.